Hey Jules, it's Jim. Hope you're having a really good Monday. I guess your Monday's just about finished in Australia, or maybe it is completely finished by now. But either way, I hope it was good. So I want to make a quick video, and when I make these videos, I really like shooting from the hip. So I like to just let you know what I think and what I see as it comes to me, and not overthink it, because that tends to be the most genuine review, most genuine results. So, all right, so I'm here on your site. I see that you have a pop-up here. I want to talk to you more about that later. That's a really good idea, but I want to discuss that in a little bit more detail. But hey, that's good. So one thing on that note, I mean, if you think about it, when you have people on your site, their attention is incredibly valuable. And the only way to capture that attention again, at least on your terms, is by having an email address. If they leave your site without an email address, without you having their email address, you have no way of proactively capturing their attention again. And that's just too valuable to miss out on. So it's great that you're doing this. This is good. Okay, so let's go into it here. All right. So before the fold, if you're not familiar, refers to the content before I have to scroll. So basically what you can see right here on my screen, people's attention span is really, really short, especially in this generation. If they don't know what you do nearly immediately within the first few seconds, and then secondly, if it applies to them, they're gone. So one thing you can do is check your bounce rate. Look at your Google Analytics and see how quickly people are bouncing from your page. Do they tend to go to a second, third page, or do they leave your page very quickly within a few seconds? If they're bouncing quickly, it's either one, not good traffic, meaning the traffic you're pulling from your advertising efforts, etc., is not good traffic. It's improperly targeted or something like that. Or it could be that they're not understanding what you do and then they just leave, or a combination of both. Okay, so let me look at this and kind of just collect my thoughts here. Okay, so I'm trying to better understand what you do, and I'm seeing that you have candles. Looks like you have the little warmer things. I forgot, like Scentsy type things in candles, so that's good. Yeah, so I think that it's somewhat clear what you do. This could be improved. Maybe instead of using multiple pictures, just use one static image that really captures what you do with a really nice tagline. In other words, like you have it small here, candles, fragrance, and homewares. So I like the idea of one photograph here that captures what you do and that has the tagline, larger, candles, fragrance, and homeware, something like that, where it's just immediately clear. And I know this seems really ridiculous that it wouldn't be obvious, that what you have here is not obvious, but it's got to be like on an elementary school level, boom, just immediately obvious what it is that you do. Okay, so I see that you're using this chat widget. That's really good. The Facebook Messenger. That's good, but you might consider using something that allows you to chat with people that aren't on Facebook. I know most of the world is, but there's still a percentage of the population that's not. So I like the chat widgets that allow you to chat with people without signing in or without being connected to Facebook in any way. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, new arrivals. Some products here. All right, let me just take a browse and collect my thoughts. So Jules, my initial thought here is that this is too many words and not enough pictures. If you compare this line to this line's way more attractive. Again, the average visitor to your site is lazy. I mean, like, they don't want to read a bunch of stuff. And that's just true. So if you sell with pictures, you're going to do much better than with words. So if you just compare these two lines, this one just kills it. It's much better. You have attractive imagery, fewer words. It's just a better line. So I would recommend using this at a higher place, or even ditching this completely and just using this here. Yeah, these are great photographs. I would make sure this is level with this, so it's more visually, aesthetically pleasing. And also, just keep in mind that, like, as I go through a website review, some people's websites are really, really bad, and they have some major glaring issues that need to be fixed before they can even move on. And other sites are good, which is a few small details. So I don't want to come across as being nitpicky, but the reality is you have a good site, like you have a really strong foundation. So it's just some of the smaller details that you need to improve to, just to improve your conversions and just to do better with your site. So yeah, so that's one of those examples. And having a sixth item here for just again for aesthetics is good. So if you can shrink these images, make this all on the same line, it would just look better. This is great. Instagram is becoming massive for pulling people to your site. It's really a great social media tool to use. So the fact that you're on there and focusing on this is really good. So I would definitely recommend continuing to pursue that, figure out what your hashtags are that speak to your clients and getting them in onto your site via Instagram. So it's a great idea. Okay, great. Let me click on some other pages here. Candles. And this just, like, a lot of white space is good, but this looks a little bit naked. So rather than having these all linear, straight down the middle of the page, I would recommend spreading them out where you have like one here, like make this image larger. So imagine it one here, one here, one here, and then another row, boom, boom, boom. And these images are larger and, you know, maybe even with a description of what it is, the name of the candle or whatever. And I would make this text here larger, maybe scented candle range or something like that. Just again, these are small details that I think will help. Okay. Same thing on this page. So if you just have two, that's fine, but make them fill the page. So side by side, larger images. Hopefully the images are high enough quality to allow them to be larger. But yeah, that's what I would do there. And see, this page is inconsistent with the other ones. It doesn't match, but this page is actually more attractive to me. The layout of this page is a bunch more in line with what I'm thinking is a better idea. So yeah, that looks good. Okay, fragrance melts. Candles. Let's click on a specific product. Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize that. So this is like a line of candles. Yeah, okay. So my advice remains the same. I would just have it say whatever line. If this is the, I think it said classic range, then it would just make it a little bit more clear what they're getting. So then they go here, and then let's see if this takes me to the, yeah. Oh, good. It's good that they can zoom in and see the image closer. That's great. And if you can add more, so I would make this copy a little bit larger. The larger it is, within reason, of course, the easier it is to read, the more likely people are going to read it. And I would add more copy. Just more descriptive words, more benefits. You know, think about emotionally charged words, benefits that they're going to get in using this candle. Just make this a little bit richer in terms of verbiage. Just more words, but words that sell. Emotionally charged words that sell is what I would put there. Okay. The About Us is a hugely important page. Okay, let's see here. So, but before I read this, my first thought here is, first of all, it's a great idea that you have your picture. That's good. People do business with people, not with businesses. So the fact that they can connect with you and know who the owner is builds trust and credibility on your site. So that's huge. And then I would make this larger. Again, the larger it is, within reason, the easier it's going to be to read. So I would make that bigger. And this is a little bit off. Like this last line, it's not formatted quite right. It should wrap around. Like you should be able to enlarge your image just a touch and then have the text wrap around it where it's a little bit more cohesive. All right, let me read this. Fine, Jules. One thing I wanted to point out is if you hand make these, scream that from the rooftops. That's huge. That's really huge. People appreciate handmade items. If you don't, that's fine. Then obviously don't say that. But if you do, that should be front and front and center of your site. And even if we go back to the homepage where I talked about before the fold, if that's true, if you hand make these, that should be part of your tagline on this main image here, because that's huge. That's definitely very important. So I would include it. Okay, let me see what else. Okay, this is good. Yeah, a lot of ways to get a hold of you. That's good. Testimonials. That's good to have as well. Okay. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about is email collections. So in fact, give me 1 second. Let me pull up a couple things here. Okay, Jules, this is my site. So if you go to blog.groovejar.com, and so this is the blog. I want to share a specific post that I wrote right here. This one here, this first one, how to boost your conversion rate. Okay, this goes through making a strong first impression on your site, and I have examples here of what to do and what not to do. So you may find this useful and just some different, kind of a deeper dive into what I've already been talking about in this video. And then also, the fact that you're doing email collections is huge. Most people don't do that. And you can, like I said, recapturing that attention is incredibly valuable. We have a tool that does that. It's called Groove Urgent. It has a pop-up timer it's a pop-up with a countdown timer. And our conversion rates are over 10%. They're really, really good. And it works well because of the countdown timer and the psychological principle of urgency. So either way, I'm glad that you're doing that. There's a lot of other companies that do this as well. SumoMe is a good one. Privy is a good one. I would just experiment. If you're getting a good conversion rate with what you're using now, leave it. If not, consider experimenting with some different options, because the more email addresses you can collect, the better, obviously, to increase your conversions and ultimately your revenue. So, okay, Jules, that's all I've got for you. Let me know if you have any specific questions or if there's anything I can do to give you a hand. Hope you have a good one. Take care.